my friends, this is the online compiler of Dart. You can see, and you can also find it by this link. I will paste it in the description. So that now today, before starting the Flutter, I want to tell you something about Dart, and today's video topic is Dart introduction. Okay, in this video I will introduce Dart. So let's start. So today's video we will talk about the data types in Dart, if else conditionals in Dart, and the loop, for loop. And you can see this is the main entry point of the program. Any of the programs you need to write inside this function called the void main. In order to run our program, we need to write inside it. So let's start from the data type called number. The data type number stores the number, but in the number data type there is three types called num, which will store the numbers. So that in order to declare a variable, at first we need to put the data type and then the variable name and then its value. So if I want to add the data type called int, which is also the type of number, so I need to write the data type called int and then the variable number called b and the value called it. And there is another type of number called double, which will contain the number with a decimal point. So let's name it with c equals to like 4.5. Now you can see this is a number, this is integer, and this is a double. This double will only store the number with a decimal point, and this integer will only store the integer numbers, but this num will store both of them. So that now we can test it by printing the value of a, b, and c as well. A, b, c. In this way you can print and just press on the run button, so it will execute the program. The dartpad is not working properly, so try to refresh it. Now you can run it, it will work fine. Here you can see the value of that a, b, and c as well. So now in this way there are three types in the number data type. And now we will move toward the string data type. Now we will create another variable. In order to declare a new variable, at first we need to put the data type called string, like this, string, and the variable name like id equals to the value will be, let's say, email. Now you can see this is another type of data which stores the string value. So in the programming language, the string data can be stored inside the inverted comma or that commas. And now you can also print out the value of this id by just putting here id, and you can again run it. Just again refresh it so that it will execute the program. You can see here email, that means it did printed that the value of this id. And like the same way, there is another data type called list, Just remove all the print statements. And now there is another data type called list. So like other data types, at first I need to declare the data type called list and the variable name called, let's say, names. So the value of list should be stored in square brackets. Now when you declare any variable, make sure to add this sign called semicolon after declaring the variable. Now you can add here the list of data. You can store here the list of integer, list of strings, and any other data types. So let's store first the names. So that means, let's say, code Flutter and etc. Now you can see I did put it here the two names, one is code and second one is Flutter, so that now I can also print them out like this way, print statement and the names. And here I need to add the index, that means which one I need to print, first one or the second one. So I need to add here the 0. In the programming language, the I'm sorry, here name, not name, names. In the programming language, it will count like this one is of 0 index and this one is of 1. Not this is not a 1 and this is not a 2. This it starts from 0, so that if I print the 0, then this will print code, and if I write here 1, then this will print that Flutter. So let's test it. Just make sure to reload it. The dartpad is not working properly. Now it should work fine. Here you can see the code, and now you can print this word even also by pressing here 1, by writing here 1, and you can again run it, and you can see here the Flutter is printed successfully. Now we have another data type called map. In let's declare another variable with the data type map. Let's say keywords equals to map data type can be stored in the curly braces in this way, and in the map there is the data in the form of key and value. That means there will be one key, and another will be value. So that let's put here that like email, like test.com, and password 1 2 3 4 5 6. You can write like this, and here you can see this one is the key and this one will be value. Then that means if you write this one, this will print this one. That means if you target this key, then this will return this one. So let's test it. Just write here print. I want to print the value of email, so that I need to write keyword, and inside the square bracket just write the key, which is email. And now you can print the value of email. Reload the dartpad. Can now it should work fine. Yeah, here you can see the value of email is successfully printed, and you can print the value of password as well. Here the password is also printed. So in the map data type you can store the data like this, and during the course we will learn more about the maps data type and the list and other data types. So this is only for starting the course. They are the basic information about Dart. So now we will learn about the if else conditionals. So let's write here if here. This is the syntax for if else conditional. If else conditional. Okay, here we need to add the condition, and if the condition is true, then this will perform the task which is mentioned here, and if the condition is false, then this will perform the task which will be mentioned here. So let's add here the condition, like if a, you can see here the value of a is 4. If you write here if a is double equals to 4, this double equals to means in the Dart that this value should be equal to this. If you write here the double, then this will return you it will return, if the value will be true, then it will return you the true value, and if it is false, then it will return you the false value. So that I did return here the double that equals to sign, and now you can write here your task. So I want to print the condition is true, and if it is false, then it should to return the condition is false. Make sure to put it inside the commas, inverted commas. Now you can print it out. So before printing, let's reload the page. Now let's run it. Here you can see the condition is true. Here it is checking that if the value of a is 4, then this will print this, otherwise this, and you can see the value of 4, the value of a is already 4. So you can change the value of 4. Now it will test that if the value of a is equals to 5, then this will return this, otherwise this. And now you can see here the value of a is 4, so that is false. Now if you run the program, this will print this one. Here you can see the condition is false. So in this way the if else conditionals work. Now we will go toward the for loop, and if you have any doubt, this will be cleared during the course. So let's move toward the for loop. In order to use the loop, we just need to write like this: for. Let me tell you one thing, there is two type of for loops in Dart. The first one is for in loop, and another one is increment type loop. So we will learn firstly the incrementing type loop. So for that I need to write like this: var int 0. Here this is the common syntax. These are the syntax in order to write the loop. Here, this is the data type. As you can see, this will store the integer value, and this is the variable name, and this is the value. That means the value of I is 0, and this is checking the condition that if the I is less than 5, and this one is incrementing the value of I every time. So from the word loop, you can imagine that the loop means that the repetition. That means it will be repeated 5 times, so that every time the value of I will be increased, and when the value of 5 is the value of I is greater than or equals to 5, this will stop the loop. So it should to repeat the loop 5 times, because the I is 0, and it will take 5 times to become the value of I 5. So let's check it. In order to get that, let's print the value of I, that it every time it will print the value of I. Sorry, now it should to print the value of I. Let's run it. Sorry, reload the page again. Here you can see the it did printed the value of I. You can see here the first time the value of I is 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Here you can see this statement I plus plus incremented the value of I from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and this statement printed, and this is the default value, and this check the condition, so that it did stop after 5 times. So that in this way the for in loop that the incrementing type for loop works. And we will learn more thing about the for loops during the course. And now we have another thing called for in loop. Usually for in loop used in order to get the value data from the list or the maps. So I have one list that is the names, which is stored two values. One is code, and then another one is Flutter. For that, I need to declare another variable here, which will be string, because you can see here the inside the names there is a two variables which store the string. That means the two value with a string data type. So I need to add here string. Let's name it v in the name of the list, that is names. And now there is the data type of the data of the list is string, so that I did return here the string. But if there is the integer value, then I needed to write here the int, so that in order to solve the problem, if that means here it can be integer even also. So that how to know that inside the list what kind of data is present. So in order to prevent crashing, we need to write here the var. Var is the data type in Dart, which will store all kind of data. That means it will store all the dynamic data, which can be a map, integer, string, or other kind of data types. So it stores all kind of data types. So we use it here, so because it can be anything. It can be a string, it can be a integer, it can be a double, or anything else. So we use here the var. Now let's print the value of b. So now you can see how is it working. Let's reload the page again. Here you can see it did printed the 8 and then the flutter. That means it is printing the value of list that names one by one, so that at the first time it did in that printed the first value and then the second value. So in this way the for in loop can be used. And now we did completed all the topics for today. Now this is the small introduction of Dart, so that we will go move toward the Flutter. So in the next video we will start the Flutter installation, and we will create our first project. So thank you for watching.